Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Quarantine Kitchen.
Good morning. How are you? It's Sunday morning here in Germany, and we thought that since we're indoors, we would make something special for breakfast. Maybe call it Sunday brunch. We took a look around at our ingredients to see what we had, and lo and behold, we have 90% of the ingredients for one of our favorite breakfasts, which is called Chilequiles. Tonya, do you like Chilequiles?
I do, yes.
Yeah. So what we thought we'd do is do this video in a couple different segments. First, we'll introduce you to the ingredients that we're using so you can get your ingredients prepared. So Tonya, why don't you come over and we'll take a look at what we're cooking with today. So the main ingredient of the Chilequiles are tortillas. We've got about 12. I've shredded about 12 corn tortillas, just shredded by hand into big random pieces. So we've got about 12 corn tortillas. We're gonna fry those in a few moments, but the second main ingredient are eggs. So for 2 people, I would do about 6 eggs. So I've got 6 medium to large size eggs. And what this basically is a Mexican frittata, a tortilla chip frittata. But you cannot really make this dish without the star ingredient. And we get this Mexican chili sauce called El Pato. Some of our friends and family in the United States mail these to us because we can't get this here in Germany. So this is in fact the last can that we have in the house. So we're gonna make the last can. So this is like gold. This is gold, right? So anyway, Uncle, thank you for the last few cans that we have. If any of you out there want to mail us some El Pato, that would be greatly appreciated. Or the El Pato company, look, product placement. If the El Pato company wants to send us a case or 2 of this magical sauce, this chili sauce, that would be great. Okay, so we've got tortillas, we got eggs, we've got El Pato. I've done a rough chop of 2 medium-sized tomatoes and 2 large-sized jalapeno.
So it's going to be quite spicy
peppers.
with all those seeds in there.
It'll be a little spicy, yeah. I've got about a half of a brown onion, diced. I've got about 2 cups of cheddar cheese. Shredded, yeah. So we did a shred. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be using some black pepper. I'm going to be using some garlic powder. I'm going to be using some red chili flakes to give it even a little bit more heat. And then we've got some cumin, a little bit of cumin to give it some smoke, and some basic sea salt. Normally as the final garnish, I would have used cilantro, but today we have no cilantro in the house. The stores are closed, so we're using just some green lettuce just to add some color and a garnish. I've done a little chiffonade of lettuce here. So those are our ingredients, and we'll be right back. What we're gonna do is we need to fry the tortilla chips. We want them fried nice and crispy. I guess you could cheat and use some bagged tortilla chips, but it's not as good, right? This is the legit way. So we're gonna heat some oil up in a pan. We're gonna get it nice and hot, right? So I already had some oil in there. So we're gonna use some oil, get the oil nice and hot, and then we're gonna start frying the chips. After the chips are fried, we're going to put them in this bowl with just some paper lining to drain some of the oil off. And then as we make the chips, we're going to salt them. Not so heavily, but we're gonna salt them a little bit to give them some nice flavor. Okay, so we'll see you in a few minutes when we got some chips. The oil has been given a moment to heat up. But before we do that, we'd like to talk a little bit more about product placement. If the Jif company is out there, or the Lavazza Coffee Company is out there, or even Tabasco, we are big fans of your product, And we are open to any suggestions that you have if you want to come and sponsor the Quarantine Kitchen. Okay, so here we go. You know, we're going to put a couple tests in here. So maybe Tonya, come over here and look at the oil. What you want is the oil. Yeah, we want the oil hot enough to do that, to start frying the chips right away. You don't want the tortillas sitting in cold oil. So we'll just start throwing some random pieces in there. It'll take about 30 seconds to fry up a batch. So we're gonna do this probably about 4 or 5 times because it will take, you'll have to cook these chips in a batch. So, all right. So we'll be back in a few minutes. We've got, this is about the color of the chips that you want, you know, a nice golden brown. Every couple batches, maybe just dust them with some salt. They taste a lot better. So I'm gonna have you watch me do a whole batch. So, you know, just enough to fill the bottom.
I'll have a very messy kitchen to clean later. He's a very messy cook.
It's not so bad. Come on. Doesn't it taste better when someone else cooks it for you?
It does, but then I have to clean it.
So, all right. So, but I'm trying. Look at this. I'm trying to be clean. Look, clean as we go, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Clean as we go.
There you go.
We're in a quarantine kitchen. So, as the oil gets hotter and hotter, the chips are going to cook faster and faster. I would say the last batch, you want to keep them, you want to make them as brown as possible without burning them. Make them extra crispy, extra golden. You're going to keep that last batch separate from the frittata because we're going to use those to give the chilequiles a crunchy texture at the very end. So you'll see what we're going to do. See, we've almost, they're going good, right? We're going to give them a turn, you know, just stir them randomly. Be careful with hot oil. All right, so we're gonna let that cook. And we've got 70s yacht rock music going on a Sunday morning. Isn't that fantastic? What do we got playing? Who's that?
Pina colada song.
It's the Pina Colada song. How good would a Pina Colada be with chilequiles on a Sunday morning?
That would be good.
That would be good.
Too bad we don't have what we need.
Yeah, we don't have the right ingredients for the Pina Colada. All right. So let's see. Let's check the tortillas. How are we doing, Tonya? What do they look like? They look probably a little. We need another minute or so, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll come back, and we'll have all of the tortillas fried. All right. Hi again. All right. So we're on the last batch of chips. You can see how dark I'm trying to get them. We really want these extra brown, extra crispy, and I'm not going to put them in the bowl where my other chips are. I'm going to set them aside on another plate because we're going to use these as a finish. We're going to take them off. I'm going to use a slotted spoon. There, we can shut the heat off here, I think. Yeah. All right. So I'm using a slotted spoon. This is going to be messy because these pieces get small. These are very small pieces. Try not to do your chips so small. If you keep them just in quarters, it's easier to take them out. I was able to use the tongs for all of the other chips because they're much bigger pieces, but these are extremely small and it's gonna take me a moment. So we'll come back after I finish struggling with the chips.
Okay.
You can see the how brown we've done these chips. They're really extra crispy. They're brown. I need to salt them. I didn't salt this batch, so just a pinch of salt, you know, depending on to taste. All right, so now what we're gonna do, the next step is we're going to start building the frittata. So the chips are the foundation. The eggs are the building blocks, and all of the other ingredients are going to finish it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to heat, you know, the biggest frying pan we have. So get your biggest skillet, and we're gonna put this on a medium-high heat. You don't want to burn anything. You don't want it too high. So we've got an electric range. It goes from 0 to 9, or 1 to 9. So we're gonna put this on a 7. All right. So that's gonna get hot, and I'm gonna use just a little bit. I'm gonna use a little bit of the oil that I cooked the chips in. Maybe. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat some oil up. Maybe that's good enough. 3 tablespoons or so. Just to coat the pan. And we're gonna get that nice and warm over a medium-high heat. And then what we're going to do is we're gonna sweat or saute some onions. And after the onions are kind of sweating and nice golden brown, we're then going to add the jalapeno and tomatoes, and we're going to cook those. We're back. The pan is nice and warm. The oil is ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our onion. That's a nice sound, isn't it? We're going to just get the onion a little head start. And with the onion, just a little bit of garlic powder, not salt, because we're salting everything else. So we got garlic powder. We're gonna add to that a pinch, depending on your taste, of some red chili flake. We're gonna give it a baseline of some heat. So these are all gonna saute together, these flavors. We are gonna put another little dash of salt. And to give it a little bit other type of heat, with just some black pepper. So we're gonna let those onions cook. So we're gonna try to do this in one take. So we'll get those onions a head start. Ooh, can you smell that, Tonya? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think this is gonna be the hottest batch you've ever made.
I don't know about that, but people can adjust, That's the good thing about cooking, is you can adjust the salt, you can adjust the pepper, the chili. You can make it to taste. So those are going pretty good. I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit now. We don't need such a warm pan. Okay, so those onions have started to sweat and they're brown. So now I'm gonna add the tomatoes. These are chopped tomatoes, about 2 medium-sized chopped tomatoes, and 2 good-sized jalapeno peppers sliced.
And you can use diced tomatoes in the can too, right?
Yeah, we've done diced tomatoes in the can. We've done it with jalapeno peppers, without. So we're gonna give this a moment to all cook together to get these flavors combining.
You can add some meat to this too, or beans.
Oh, that's right.
A lot of different ways you can do this.
We've
added chicken or beef or beans, refried beans, black beans.
We've done it with chicken once or twice, and we've also made it with carnitas.
Yep.
So if you did it with meat, you would add the meat. It would already be pre-cooked.
Yeah. So
you would pre-cook the meat in however way you'd want it, and then add that almost at the last step.
Right.
But right now we're waiting on the tomatoes, the onions, and our other ingredients to kind of gel together, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a chef. I don't know what the term is. One other ingredient we like to use, and we'll put it in about now, is cumin. This is going to give it a real smoky flavor. I like cumin. I'm not afraid of using it. Some people maybe feel as though it's an acquired taste, but I put 3 good-sized pinches. Oh, why am I using that? We're going to use the spatula. So if you could smell this aroma, you've got a nice garlic, onion, pepper, cumin. I mean, it's real nice. How does that smell to you, Tonya?
Smells like chilequiles.
Yep. So we want this to cook down. So while that's cooking down, let me explain the next couple steps. What we're going to do, it sounds counterintuitive, but we're going to then add the chips into this, and we're just kind of combine the fried chips and the tomato, pepper, onion mix. But while we're waiting for that, one thing we can do is we can come over here with the eggs. What I like to do with my eggs is take the El Pato and just put a splash of the El Pato in there. I'm gonna put another little pinch of black pepper. And then we're going to beat the eggs. So you're gonna scramble the eggs. We don't want whole eggs. It doesn't have to be, you know, perfect. It doesn't have to be completely smooth and homogenized. It can just be kind of like chunky scrambled eggs, right? Oh, you're doing it more.
Or you can do it more.
Or you can do it more. I guess if the guest you've invited over for brunch wants to take over your kitchen, she can do that. That is very typical.
Well, I'm not your guest, but okay.
You can be my guest. All right. So this has had a chance to cook. So then what we're going to do is we're going to add all of the chips from the first batch. They're already cooked. So this is just, you know, I might give them try to get the tomato and the chips and the chili peppers combined. Because the next step is going to be then to add the eggs. And the eggs are going to bind all of this together. I know it kind of looks like some kind of weird trailer park nachos at this point, but it's going to get turned into... It's going to get turned into something else here. All right. All right, so we got the chips, the onions, the tomatoes, the chili peppers kind of combined. And now we've got our 6 eggs where I put some black pepper and El Pato sauce. They were scrambled to my wife's content. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put the eggs in there to combine this all together. So get the chips all coated with egg. Get the chips, every chip you want coated with the egg mixture. You know, they're gonna start cooking quickly, so you don't have a lot of time. And you don't wanna do this on too high of a heat because you don't want the eggs to cook too quickly. You don't want them to start, you know, gelling in your pan. You wanna give the chips a chance to get coated with those chips.
You mean with the egg?
With the egg, yeah. Uh-huh. And, all right, so we've got this going. It's gonna come together really fast at this point, so.
So you just keep stirring it up until it
Till it's all together. Yeah, till it's all together. You want the eggs fully cooked, of course. But what you're gonna see is kind of like this chip here. You've got, you know, the egg is cooking on the chip now. So you've got egg coated chips. Some people like to coat the chips in the egg batter, if you will, or the egg wash, or whatever you want to call it. They like to do that before they start cooking, and I've tried that before too, but I don't know. I just like cooking everything together in the pan. Okay.
8 minutes now.
I know. Well, we're almost there. All right, so that's about cooked. So then what we're going to do then is add the gold. We're going to add the El Pato gold here. So just pour the whole can. If you really like it, if we had 2 cans, I would have used 2, but unfortunately, that's the last can in Germany. And then we're gonna combine it again. We're gonna give it a good stir. We'd like now all the chips to be combined with egg and the tomatoes and onions, and now the El Pato sauce. All right, so we're almost done here. All right, bless you, Tonya. All right, so you can see we've got the chips coated with egg and El Pato, tomatoes, onions, all of those nice ingredients that we had. So that's still cooking. So then on top of this, we're going to put our cheese. I did about 2 cups of cheese here. You can do less or do more depending on how you feel about it. But we want to give...
And this is right around when you would like add probably the meat and stuff, right?
Yeah, if we had meat, I would have done that probably. If I had meat or beans, I probably would have then put them before the El Pato sauce. So that would have been the step. If you have meat or beans, put those in and then do the El Pato sauce and then do the cheese. So this is gonna take a moment to melt down. After the cheese is melted, or while the cheese is melting, we're going to put the crunchy chips on top. And you can hear what I'm doing. I'm kind of crushing them. This is just for texture. Just to give it crunchy. Because those chips, even though they're cooked, the first batch of chips, even though they're cooked, they're not going to be crunchy. They're not going to be crunchy at all. So I found that this is a very good way to give the dish some added texture. So now the cheese is kind of melty, and we got the crunchy chips on top. We'll give it another. We'll fold it all together. We'll give it another mix here, another stir. I think we're almost done here. If I had the second can of El Pato, this is where I would put some more. So it's not as much.
It's kind of like enchiladas.
It is. All right, so I'm gonna shut the heat off because the residual heat from the pan is gonna finish it. So the cheese is melted, everything's cooked, and then at the end, I would normally have cilantro. The cilantro is a really good complement to this dish, but since we don't have that, I'm just gonna put a chiffonade of green lettuce. This is just for garnish, for color. And so, there you are, Chilequiles from the quarantine kitchen. Bon appetit.